In this lesson, we're going to take things further and load our data asynchronously from other pages, rather than placing everything within a single page. So let's go back, and I'm going to add a new file, and we'll save this as about.html. And then from this point, let's go back to where we last left off in the previous lesson, and let's get rid of contact entirely. So at this point, we have two divs, or two pages, quote unquote. I'm going to grab or copy all of this and get rid of this. So now we're left with a single page, like so. Now I'm going to move into about.html and paste this in, and we'll get rid of the previous page. So now about.html contains this information. So if we go back to index.html and we wish to link to the about page, you can do it like so. However, that won't work anymore because it's not on the same page. We need to do about.html. And let's go ahead and do it up here as we should. So let's try that out. We'll go into Firefox this time, refresh, and now I'm going to click Read More About Me, and sure enough, it loads the new page. So let's just make sure everything we're doing is correct. And we're going to change the heading of the About page to About Me. And we'll just change this to About Footer. All right, just to be sure. So refresh, and now when I click it, sure enough, we go to the About Me page. Now there's something I want you to note here. First, we are not on about.html. And the way that jQuery mobile works is it'll take the path that you type in this case about.html, and that will be applied through the query string, like so. At that point, it'll grab that page and it'll load it asynchronously. Now also, the way it works is when loading asynchronously, it's not going to load this entire page. jQuery Mobile is going to load this bit of information. So if you have alternate scripts running on this page, you cannot load that asynchronously. You'll need to access that page directly. Now, one way to do that is to apply rel equals external. Let's try it out. Refresh the page. And if I click it, sure enough, that's going to load about.html rather than loading it asynchronously. And in that point, you can run any scripts per usual. Also, one thing you need to note is that when you link to a different page that has multiple data role equal pages within it, you cannot load that asynchronously. You'll need to use rel equals external to load that page. So I'm going to get rid of this, and let's try something different. I'll show you a cool technique. Let's apply data rel. The relation is going to be a dialog, and what this will do is jQuery Mobile will load the page like a dialog box. I'll show you what I mean here. And now if I click it, it's going to be loaded as a dialog box. Now note that we're in Firefox, so we're not going to get the pretty transitions. But if I click that, you'll see a dialog pops up. It's going to load that information, and then I can close it like so. Let's go into a different browser like Safari, and if I click it this time, now you can see that effect. Much nicer. Now it's also going to be bound to the transition that you apply. So let's say we want to apply a pop. All right, let's try it out. Refresh, click it, and now it's going to pop open like a dialog box, and then I can close it out and it'll pop in the reverse direction. So as a little project here for Pages, if you want to keep working along in this lesson, let's build a very list-based template. So I'm going to go in here, and we have our header. Let's get rid of this, and we're going to do ul data role. We learned this in the previous lesson. It's going to be a list view, and we're going to have two list items here. The first one is going to link to about.html, about us, and the second one is going to link to contact.html, which we have yet to create. Contact us. So now we have this. Let's go ahead and set the inset. So we'll say data, excuse me, wrong area, data inset. We're going to make sure we set that to true. Okay, so now we have our base layout. If I click About Us, it's going to load that page. And by default, again, it's going to use that transition. So if you decide later, you know what, I want this data transition to be slide down. You can do that as well. Come back, refresh, and now when I click it, it's going to slide down, and that's going to look really nice on the mobile phones. So let's do it one more time. We're going to stick with this because that's fairly common. Now note when you click the back button, it's still asynchronous, but it's going to transition in the opposite direction. So this time it'll transition all the way back to the left. If I click Contact Us, this loading is going to pop up, and you'll find this fairly common when you're doing maybe some database call or grabbing some third-party API. So in this case, we're not loading anything, so it's going to run indefinitely. So let's go ahead and fix that right now, and we'll grab that, create a new file. ID. In this case, we don't even need to apply an ID. You would only apply the ID in the condition that you had multiple data role equals pages in one page. So in this case, we're loading it asynchronously. We can just keep it like so. Contact us. We can be reached, blah, blah. Okay, you get the idea, right? So we have that. We have our About page, and we have our index page. So let's try it out now. One more time. So we have About Us, come back. Now we have Contact Us, and now we can be reached there. And this is all asynchronous. And the only way we're loading it is it's being passed through the query string, and then an AJAX call is being made to load that local file. So I hope you're getting excited with jQuery Mobile. With minimal work, we can do some really neat things. And we're going to take it once again even further in the next lesson and take a look at buttons.